Hey, Jacob, Renee, I am here at the Westin Hotel in New Orleans. And again, those polls just closed about 30 minutes ago. So people are just now starting to roll in. I'm sure you can see those seats filled with family and friends behind me starting to fill up. Now, Wilson, the only Democrat running in this governor's race, the Lafayette native, has over 25 years of experience. And one thing he's been adamant about this whole time is his ability to adapt and reach people in every community, not just the ones that look like him. Now, Wilson has focused on a number of things throughout his campaign, talking about Medicaid insurance, talking about crime that's been going on across the state, addressing education amongst our youth, along with a number of other things. Now, I did speak to some longtime friends of Wilson who traveled all the way here from Dallas, Texas to support him tonight. They say that they've been supporting him since he was a child and that they admire his authenticity, and that's been able to help him stand out throughout this race. Now, throughout the day, Wilson has been in different communities in the state, starting with his hometown of Lafayette, making his way to Baton Rouge to attend Southern's homecoming parade, and then making his way back down to New Orleans, where he will be this evening. He is expected to speak later on, and I was told by a spokesperson on his team that Congressman Carter will be the one to introduce Wilson this evening. Now, again, as the numbers come in, we will be sure to keep you updated on this race at brproud.com and on air. Reporting for your local election headquarters, I'm Simone. I'm going to send it back to you guys.
All right, great reporting, Sydney.
Sydney, we still have a little ways to go, I would say. How's everybody feeling there?
That's right, Christina, Andrew. We are at the Westin Hotel in New Orleans, and since the polls closed, this room is starting to get a little more packed. But right now, I am joined with Royce Duplessis, a member of the Louisiana State Senate, a Democratic Party. Royce, good evening. Thank you so much for joining me. First off, I have to ask, with Wilson being the only Democratic candidate in this race, what do you think has set him apart this election cycle?
His qualifications, his experience, his commitment to serving the people of Louisiana. We're talking about a man who has 25 years state government experience. We're talking about a man who has led the Department of Transportation, who served under Republican and Democratic governors. I mean, this is probably, in my opinion, one of the most qualified people to ever run for this office in the history of this state. And he just so happens to be a black man. But I think he is the most qualified, the most committed, and I support him 100%.
She is joined by Congressman Troy Carter. Hey, Sydney.
That's right. I'm in the Westin Hotel here in New Orleans at Shawn Wilson's watch party. It is a packed house, and right now I'm standing next to Congressman Troy Carter. Good evening. How are you?
How are you?
Thank you for joining us. So, first question is, how likely is this race to head into a runoff?
Listen, it's very close. Turnout has been dismal throughout the entire state. We remain hopeful that there'll be a runoff. Dr. Wilson did well in New Orleans. The turnout was very, very low. So we, like everyone else now, are just waiting to see what the results are.
What area in Louisiana has been the biggest turnout for Wilson this evening, if you know?
Orleans Parish. Orleans Parish clearly is the largest, and it has not performed at the level that we would have liked. It certainly hasn't performed at the level it did 4 or 8 years ago, which really kind of puts everything in a challenged position, because there was so much competing. With LSU's game, you got Southern's football game, you got Grambling's football game, and of course you got the New Orleans Saints. A number of people have gone to Houston for that game or gone to other parts of the state for a football game. We also know that early voting was low. We hoped that it would be much higher, that people would have voted before they went to the sporting events. Doesn't look like that happened.
Well, thank you so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you.
Reporting live for your local election headquarters, I'm Simone. Yeah, Andrew, Christina, it's pretty quiet here in New Orleans as the race for governor has been called. Many people here in New Orleans at the Westin, I spoke to family and friends, campaign members, say they were expecting this to go into a runoff election, which to my understanding is pretty uncommon for this to not happen in Louisiana. Now, I spoke to Congressman Troy Carter earlier, who mentioned several factors that may have played a role in the turnout at the polls today, most of that being football across the state of Louisiana and going even outside next door to Texas with a game in Houston. So football games across the state. We had homecoming, which really played a role in the turnout for this evening. To my understanding, Shawn Wilson is expected to speak here in a matter of minutes, and once we do hear from him, we will be sure to come back on. That's all I have for now. I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio, reporting live for your local election headquarters. Simone, NBC Local 30.